Hi guys, welcome back. I hope everybody enjoyed their Easter and that you're not going totally crazy on the lockdown. So this video obviously is about Easter, even though Easter has passed. And I do hope that everybody enjoyed it, and I hope everybody followed their traditions as closely as they could. I know for us South Africans, most of us like camping, and that was out of the question. But I still hope that you got to spend the time with your families and did what you guys love to do on Easter. So this video is going to be a compilation of some whys about Christmas, Easter, and why we do some of the things that we do, or more where they came from, where these things came from. But I do not want it to influence how you feel about Easter. How you feel about it is how you feel about it. The traditions that you move over to your children, the traditions that I do with my child are special to me. So even if the origins are not what you thought they were, as long as you celebrate it the way that you enjoy it and the way that it's precious to you and your family. So let's start with some whys, and then we'll get to creepypastas. One that I thought was very, very creepy, and one that Creepy Daddy thought was really, really creepy. So let's get started with whys. So, like most of us should know that for most of us, not everybody celebrates Easter for the resurrection of Jesus Christ, which essentially is why we celebrate. Some other religions celebrate it for whatever reasons they have. For example, the pagans are celebrating the springtime that is coming in. It's obviously not springtime here in South Africa. We're going into winter, so it's kind of cold, which most of these explanations have to do with spring. So it might not make sense for South Africans, seeing that we're going to winter, but these are the world kind of explaining it, how they explain it. So the name Easter is believed to come from the goddess Estros. I hope I pronounced that right. It's an Anglo-Saxon goddess of spring and fertility and new birth. Now, what I found very interesting about this was that there's a story that she first had a pet bird, which she turned into a bunny. So maybe Easter bunny, maybe you can maybe put the two together. And then the next thing is eggs. I've always wondered why eggs. When I was a child, I was like, why eggs? Why chocolate eggs? Why this just and a bunny delivering eggs? I found it a little weird. I hope I'm not the only one, but I found that a little weird. So what the researchers told me is that basically what it is eggs are a sign of fertility. They are a sign of new birth, of new life. So for Christians, new life, resurrection of Jesus, he gave his flesh up for us. So new life. Put one and one together and you get eggs. And then bunnies. My next why is bunnies. Why bunnies? Like I said, Easter, she had a pet bird that she turned into a bunny. So bunny. But bunnies are basically the same. Bunnies do what bunnies do in the springtime. So, new life, fertility, all those signs that also choose to the new life and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And then also, why eggs, hollow chocolate eggs, is the hollowness of the chocolate egg, which I found very interesting, is actually a sign of the empty tomb that they found after Jesus had risen. The hot cross bun. I'm sure everybody around the world enjoys hot cross buns this time of year, but now even people enjoy hot cross buns right across the world for everything. So what is the meaning of the hot cross bun? For Christians, the cross, obviously the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and then the spices are a symbol, if you would, of the embalming spices, because they used to use spices to embalm bodies, that they used to embalm Jesus's body. So that is significant of that. But for pagans, the cross deals the bun up into the four sections, and four sections, each one indicating a different season, which I found very interesting. I find it very interesting to know about other people's cultures and other people's traditions. It doesn't take anything away from you from learning new things about other people. It just gives you a little bit more enlightenment. So I found that very, very interesting. But then what was cool when I was doing my research is there's actually some myths behind hot cross buns. And the one that I found extremely interesting is there's a myth that if you bake and serve hot cross buns on the same day, that that would be Easter Friday, when they traditionally eaten, that they were said to be able to keep for the entire year. They wouldn't mold, they wouldn't spoil. Really? A whole year? I doubt it. But okay, maybe. And then what would happen is they would use these buns, these spiced hot buns, for ill people, because they had miraculous traits to them, because they couldn't get old or moldy or spoil. So they'd give a piece to someone who was ill and they'd get better. Do you believe that? Maybe. Or maybe I have little faith. But I don't want to be eating no buns. No thanks. No thanks. The next why is why chocolate. Should I be asking why chocolate? I'm pretty sure we all love chocolate. I haven't met anyone who doesn't love chocolate. So why am I even questioning chocolate? Really? Really, creepy mama? Why are you questioning chocolate? But anyway, for my research, as we all know, chocolate is an aphrodisiac. And aphrodisiac actually comes from Aphrodite. And Aphrodite is the god of love. So obviously, love, chocolate, obviously. Seriously, do I need to explain? But also, the other thing is, Christians normally have a fast before Easter. So for 6 weeks, they will not eat animal products of everything, any kind, which includes dairy. And obviously, there is dairy in most chocolates. Not dark chocolate. And dark chocolate is my favorite. So it would be like a treat after 6 weeks of not being able to have dairy. Who wouldn't want their first thing to eat that they got is chocolate? I mean, really? I want that. And then, the actual botanical name is Therobiosoma cacao. I'm really bad at this pronunciation, but it loosely translates into the food of gods. So, food of gods on a holy weekend. I'm thinking yes, please. Then another why is why fish. Why do we eat fish on the beginning of Easter? So most Christians abstain, like I said, from meat and dairy products, anything that comes from an animal. Now the reason fish is, we abstain from fleshy meats as in red meats and so on. So fish is like a sacrifice. You're sacrificing eating meat to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So therefore we eat fish. And here in South Africa we have the most delicious things. So if you've never tried pickled fish, then you should try it. It's the most amazing thing. Get a traditional South African to make it for you. Woo! Cape Malay style. I'm telling you guys, you will not regret the decision. And another why that I've got is, why does Easter change? The date change every year? Well, the date changes every year because Easter is traditionally the first Sunday after the full moon, the first full moon in April. I didn't know that, and now I do. I know that. So let's get down to the juice, the fun. The two scary stories, creepy stories that I found for you guys that I love. The first one is my pick, and it's abduction. So basically what this story is about is, this family's father works, but he works close to a mall, so they go to the food court when he has lunch, and they have two sons, a younger son and an older son, around the age of 3 and 6, if I remember correctly, age 3 and 6, and they go to the food court to have lunch with their father. Now this Easter, the Easter bunny was there, just like Father of Christmas would be there, and you would take photos with Santa and all that fun stuff, which means massive crowds, and not for me. So, because the father didn't have much time, children would moan and moan and moan and moan. They wanted to take a photo with the Easter bunny. They wanted to take a photo with the Easter bunny. Eventually, when Daddy went back to work, and Mommy said, okay, let's take the photo. And wouldn't it be a nice gift for Dad to frame a photo of his two children with the Easter bunny? So the boys could stand in the line Easter Bunny, and Mom's standing there waiting for them. And then she hears her eldest screaming, "Let him go! Let him go!" And she looks up and she sees that the Easter Bunny is holding tightly to her younger son. And then eventually the oldest son, was smart enough to grab his brother away from the Easter Bunny. This was obviously very traumatic for the youngest, and his older brother was his hero, obviously. I mean, seriously, be my hero. So, after this traumatic event with the Easter Bunny, they went on with their day, and then they had supper out. They went out for supper as well with their father and their mother, because Daddy was finished working. They went out for supper. And as they were driving home from supper, the eldest was looking out in the window, and then he just suddenly said, "There's the Easter Bunny," standing in the park. And his parents started screaming at him because they looked out the window and they saw nothing. And they told him, "You shouldn't do that," because his brother started crying hysterical. "You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't scare your brother. You should know better than to be doing this. You are older than him, and you know how scared he was this afternoon." And he went home and he apologized, but he told his parents that he really saw the Easter Bunny. But after all this commotion, they eventually went to bed, and they eventually got the boys to sleep in their room. And in the middle of the night, the oldest woke his parents up, and he told them hysterically, and the Easter Bunny is outside the window. And that's basically all they could get out of him, because he was screaming hysterically. The father took the son. He said, "No, everything is fine, don't worry, it's just your imagination." And he took the eldest, took him into the room, and then he saw that the window was open and his youngest son's bed was empty. It was gone. There was no sign of blood. He started screaming hysterically, and they phoned the police. They went outside searching, and the only thing that they could find was big footprints leading up the hill behind their house. And you know, the thing that's the worst thing about the story that I found on the internet was, guys, that it says at the end of the story that a year later, the eldest boy was looking out the window on Easter as they rode past that same park. The Easter Bunny was waving at him. That is the worst. And why this one is so scary to me is that I'm a mother, and my child being abducted is the one thing that scares me. It scares me so badly. So that's why this story was my pick. Creepy Daddy's pick, though, is called Creepy Bunny. So, according to this story, the father woke up in the middle of the night hearing giggling, and he thought, "Oh no, we've got to hide the Easter eggs. It's Easter morning, the girls are awake, the children are awake. We didn't hide the Easter eggs." So he went downstairs, but he could hear this rustling. Thought, "Oh no, the girls let the neighbor's dog in again. Oh no." But then he peered around the corner and he saw something much worse than a dog. He couldn't totally see what it was. It was definitely much bigger than a dog. And in the hallway, he found this gooey brown liquid, and he thought to himself, "Oh no, what if this animal is bleeding? Or even worse, what if it had attacked one of these children?" So he went down the hall to their room, and he found his children in the room. The youngest boy was sitting on the bunny's lap, and this bunny had gnawed ears, ugly brown patchy fur with this brown liquid dripping off it, long claws clutching his son, and his elder daughter was petting this bunny. "Oh, Daddy, look at the beautiful bunny. Look at the beautiful bunny." And the father said, "Come here, guys, come here now," trying to lure his kids away from the bunny. "No, Daddy, we want to play with the Easter Bunny." The father started getting panicky. He was holding a baseball bat. He grabbed a baseball bat from the corner, and he summoned his daughter, who was older, to go to her room. So she went, not very happy about the situation. She wanted to stay with the Easter Bunny, but she went to her room anyway. And the Easter Bunny was still clutching his son. then he tried to entice his son away from the Easter bunny. Let's say, if you come to me, I will give you more candy than the Easter bunny and then that you get in Halloween. Just come to daddy. And the son tried to get away from the bunny because he wanted this candy. And the Easter bunny clutched him hard, and the brown goo started dripping over the son's face. And the son started to panic. And his father stepped forward and he said, "Give me my son." And he stepped forward and he said, "Give me my son back now." And the Easter bunny engulfed his son. He started, it looked like his son was being engulfed into chocolate. Chocolate started dripping down his face, and he could hear his son gargling, trying to get free. And he stepped forward and he swung that bat so hard, just hoping not to hit his son, just to get him away from that Easter bunny. And he swung. But as he stepped forward, got closer to the bunny, his view changed. Suddenly it was peaceful and beautiful, and the bunny was this beautiful white bunny in a field of green. It was just so tranquil. But he was already in the motion of swinging and hitting this Easter bunny's head off, and that's exactly what he did. He hit that bunny so hard against his head popped right off. But the strangest thing is, as soon as he hit it and his head fell off, it turned into a hard-shelled chocolate bunny. And the eyes of this bunny was laying in the head were actual human eyeballs in this chocolate hollow head. He tore his son out of that hollow chocolate bunny. And luckily, he was fine. So that was Scooby Daddy's one, which was kind of put you off eating the chocolate bunny. So what I would like you guys to do is say which one you thought was the best, as well as tell me what are your traditions, what do you do for Easter and why you do them. I love you guys. Bye.